Life is a journey made up of experiences, some good, some bad, some happy, some sad. We may all be different, but we are connected to the fact that no matter who we are, our stories all have hills and valleys. And so tonight, we dedicate this episode to those who may stumble, but stay humble when stardom hits. Welcome to Simso Sessions. And welcome to the show. Tonight in our safe space, we have international superstar, recording artist, Sean Paul Henriques on his journey to stardom. He's going to be talking about that, some of the pitfalls and how he has managed to stay grounded despite his huge success. First, though, we're going to check in with Alicia Moulton-White, who was one of our guests last season, a most impactful guest, as a matter of fact. Lots of debate and lots of talk after her program because of the impact it had. And so we welcome her now to the show for our check-in. Our Zoom is not working so great, so we're going to do it the best way we know how. Alicia, it's so good to have you back.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I am hanging in there. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. I will not complain. I am well.
Okay. So let's talk about right after the show. Did you have any idea that your test that became your testimony was going to have such a huge impact on the people who watched?
No, it was, I remember the day. I remember it was Heroes Day. I remember I was inundated with, in a positive way, with WhatsApp messages and texts from people I haven't heard from in years, to be honest with you. I thought that I had already done so much in terms of talking about my journey and everything that I had been through. And then having done the show, I thought, wow, there are so many persons who had never heard. Strangers, complete strangers, women, men who have been through what I've been through started to reach out to me on social media. So you've started, Simso Sessions have started what I consider a little ministry in my DMs on social media, to be honest. I've been speaking with about 3 or 4 young ladies who have suffered the same thing that I have and just kind of walking them through that journey.
Yeah, and for the folks who don't know, who didn't watch your episode, which we encourage you to go and watch on YouTube. Alicia spoke about her journey with loss, having lost 3 children, before birth, let me qualify that. And there was such a huge community outreach and outpour because there were so many women who had gone through it and who didn't have the opportunity or were afraid to speak about it. And also the presence of your husband, Odin, who made it okay for men to be able to talk about it too.
Yes, my husband does not do what he did on Simso Sessions, and I was amazed. I still am. Every time from time to time, I will watch it. And what he did and what he shared, he does not normally do that at all. But then he also was kind of shocked with the amount of men who have reached out to him and said thank you, because almost like he validated them in a way that they can absolutely talk about their loss and their pain and find healing eventually.
I'm so happy to hear that, which leads me to my final question for you for this segment is how is your healing going? One, there's a part A to it though. I see that you chop off your hair. You chopped it right off, and you sent me a message that said you had something to do with this. What is that about?
Yeah, so I felt so free. I did your episode, Heroes Day, I think it was, And then I just kept feeling so. The hair was just a thing, like a symptom or whatever you call it. But I felt so free after I did that, and in a way that I had never done before. So the talking, it was cathartic, really. And then I kept dreaming about the possibility one day of just no weave, no braids, no wig, nothing, just cut it off. And I did it. And then even from doing that, even more persons have been like, boy, how do you do this? So I feel like that episode, it freed me in a different way, that talk with you. And I want to say thank you to you and your team for taking such good care of our souls in everything that you did. You know more than anyone else how afraid I was to speak like that for the first time in such a public audience. I'd done it before, yes, but certainly not on television. And you took such good care of us. So you made it feel like it was okay. And Lord have mercy, the change just kept rolling. I was like, you know what, let me just go with this feeling. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, what a way you blessed me today, lady. You come with a blessing today. I am so happy for you. You are such a beautiful soul, a beautiful spirit, and you deserve nothing but happiness. And I am grateful to you, and I'm grateful to Pastor for coming on and letting people know that it's okay to not be okay in an instant, and that one day, if you give it time, you will be okay. So thank you, Alicia, so much.
Be blessed, my sister.
Thank you so much. You. And who knew she could be even more beautiful? That haircut is everything on you. All right, so that's our catch-up with Alicia. And when we come back, we talk to tonight's featured guest, international recording artist, Sean Paul Henriques. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see him in a different kind of light. He is and has been doing the rounds. He has a new album, new project out, but we want to get to talk to him about more than music tonight. So stay with us. We'll be back with that in a bit. Welcome back to the show, everybody. So our guest tonight is international recording artist Sean Paul Henriques, whom you may all think has had the most cushy, rosy upbringing and the most wonderful life, but that is in fact not the case. He's in a really good place, but he had to go through some struggles to get to where he is. Sean joins us now. It's good to talk to you, Sean. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you? See me?
I'm doing well. Good? No, you're in the tree again, Sean. You're back.
Yeah.
What
yeah, my tree, you know.
Is it with that tree?
Not only this tree, you know, but many trees. Sometimes trees have been here before we were here. They're going to be here after we gone. They provide so much things for us: shade, food, clothes, you know, furniture.
Inspiration? Do you write on the trees?
Yeah, I wrote the song Baby Boy on that tree, and I was writing my verse, and a mango dropped straight in my lap, and I was like, bless.
Sean, I'm glad you're here tonight because let me tell you, I know you have your new project, Live and Living Out, and I know you've been doing a lot of interviews, which is a part of the promotion of any new project that you do. But I hope I have your permission to do things just a little differently, you know?
See me, man.
Yeah, can you talk about collabs? I want to talk about Sean in the VW, you know? You know, the brown VW in them days.
Yeah, the bread.
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit. When I was doing some research for this program, one of the tabs I saw, could have been on Wikipedia, was like, why is Sean Paul white? And I was like, And then I was like, you know, this is crazy. I can't imagine the kind of questions that you see cropping up. But it reminded me of another interview I'd seen you in, where you said when you were growing up, you felt like the little boy who was on the fence. You were always on the fence because you were the uptown youth who wasn't rich enough, and you were the youth who did get along with the ghetto youth them, but you weren't from, you know what I mean? And so here you are you black, are you white, are you? And that issue of identity again. Can you tell me a little bit about that part of Sean growing up?
Yeah. You know, as a kid, I think most any kid kind of goes through, especially growing up in Jamaica, you go through the experience, you go through not feeling that experience. You takes a little while before that reality starts to set in about the class kind of differences and those type of things, especially in our country. So as a young kid, you know, we was happy. We didn't have any of those type of barriers or borders or, you know, you didn't feel that people thought of you in a negative way. You were just a Jamaican kid growing up. You know, as you grow older, you start recognizing due to things, you know what I mean? And mostly material kind of things that, you're not on the same level as other people. And it might kind of make you feel uncomfortable. I can't imagine, you know, what coming from an inner city community feels like. You know, I have many friends all over Jamaica from many different walks of life. So now that I can see how people live, or I've grown to know many different people and how they live. You know, as a kid, it was something that I didn't really understand or pay attention to. So most of my first songs were kind of about that feeling about, you know, why is it like this? Why are we saying out of many one people, but it ain't true? And why is it supposed to be one little tiny island, but we're so huge throughout the world, and also so many differences between us? And, you know, you go on a journey and you try to figure out things, and I've come to different conclusions, but in general, it's just something that I think all of us have to kind of be the bigger person about and overlook those type of thoughts.
Yeah, and kind of figure out, I guess, you said when you hit stardom, it was good for you because you already knew who you were. So obviously in all of that, you figured it out, Sean.
Yeah, for myself, I mean, you know, I understood where I stood in life and what it took to get me to any part of my dreams or aspirations that I wanted to get to. And so I was a mature person, is just what I was saying in that interview, or maybe I said it in a couple of interviews, that, you know, I wasn't a young kid.
Yeah.
And stardom comes with such a lot of different life-changing things, experiences and opportunities and the growth that you get. Sometimes it seems a bit too much for me, for young kids to handle. It's kind of evident when you see a lot of you know, these Hollywood stars, when they grow up, as they're Hollywood stars as kids. There's very few of them actually grow up and translate into an actual movie star that's an adult.
Yeah,
and the reason being, it's hard to do. You might get a skewed vision of life. You might get an unrealistic view of life, an expectation for your own self.
Yeah.
I mean, when I look at people like Michael Jackson, the most talented person, entertainer, and what he thought in his head of himself, you know, it's just very sad.
It is.
So that has a lot to do with systemic problems that we have in society, but also it had to do a lot with being a child star, I believe, as well.
And you know what it also had a lot to do with, Sean? I think it had a lot to do with family, because you hear stories about Michael and Joe, right? And what kind of situation he grew up in. And a hard part of your existence as a young person was having a father who was in prison. And it's something that you talk about a lot. Between the age of, you said 13 and
19.
What does that do, Sean, to not have your dad around for that time? And that was also one of the reasons why you couldn't really fit in with the Uptown crew at school, because your dad was locked away. So how did you deal with it? How did you navigate that part of your life?
Well, Mom was a very strong woman. He is a very strong woman and the true hero of my life. You know what I mean? Where anything was hard to deal with, she would comfort me, but never sugarcoat it. She would tell me, this is the truth. This is what's happening. Your pops, you know, he's an addict. He has problems sometimes like that, and you know, people look at him as unreliable and that type of thing, even his own family members. So, you know, it was something that was hard to speak about when he was here with us. Seeing me that he kind of got in trouble, and you know, I just didn't want to bring up things that should have been kind of left in the past. But now that he has passed, it's easier for me to speak about and kind of tell that truth. We've always been frank with each other in the family, especially with me and my father, but we didn't speak of those things in public. A lot of the time, I feel personally, I don't want people to say, you know, oh, he's using those things as an excuse, you know, that he didn't have this nice lifestyle as a kid. Because when coming up, people just hear Uptown Sensation, it kind of makes you feel like, oh, this is the dude with the golden spoon, or you know, something that he's born into this. And it wasn't really so. My father was the black sheep of his family, and even though Henriques' name is a huge name, we weren't the people that were, you know, we were on the other side of the farm, so to speak. So I just had to get used to that and understand where I stood. It was difficult at times where, you know, you feel like you're being left out because you can't do the things that a regular uptown family would be doing on a regular basis. And then also, you're more privileged than someone who lives in a zinc fence, right. You know? And that gave me a very good appreciation for where I was and saying, you know, things could be worse. And also, I need to appreciate where I am and also help out where I can to the people who I care about that live in a more dire situation than myself and my brother grew up in. Yeah. You know? I mean, we grew up in a good household. But there are times where light bill can't pay and car have hole in the ground and, you know, just economic problems that just put us in a category then, you know what I mean? Yeah. Middle class, but some people who were kind of struggling in certain times.
All right, hold on to that, Sean. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a break and come back. I read about that hole in the ground, but I never knew it was a true thing.
Yeah, man, Barney and Fred businessman to drive the car.
Wow. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about the path that you were headed before music became your mainstay. You were a champion swimmer, and that's where you were headed. And again, the finances, even though you had the Henriques name, barred you from taking that dream further. I wonder how that changed the trajectory of your life. And we'll talk about that when we come back. Sean Paul, our guest on Sim Soul Sessions today. All right, guys, rapping with Sean Paul, live and living. That's his latest project. He's live and living with us in this tree, which is where he feels most connected. We are good.
Virtually live and living with the tree.
Right. Sean, you know, I have memories, and I didn't tell you this before the show, of being right next door Benson. You had a friend on Benson, and I had a friend-ish right next door. And you guys would come up and that's why I asked you about VW, Sean, because you would hang out at the time you were at UTech and you were, you know, just starting to bust a Sean and thing. And when I look at those memories and I look at you now and I listen to the journey, I don't think a lot of people would really understand what it is that you have had to go through to get to this point. And so I have a lot of respect for you because I remember those days with you and Duncan and Mark, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So your mom was an artist and a ceramist, so?
Yeah. Yeah, she's an artist. Basically, you know, paints and did commercial art as well for a while and that kind of thing.
And did she get sick when you were 17?
If what?
Did she get sick when you were 17 years old?
I can't hear the question and keep blocking out something about 17 years
I'm going to try. Did Mom get sick when you were 17? Did she have a nervous...
Yeah, she did. You know, my father was in prison. She was dealing with a company that they both started and had subsequently had to kind of move on. It was a screen printing company where she would print shirts for different people. Stone Love was one of them. I think they employed like about 14 people to do the screen printing. My father would get the business contracts. My mom would, you know, be the artist that drew the stencils to print the stuff on the shirt. Tie-dye and that kind of stuff they used to do too. And, you know, when my pops went to prison, it was her dealing with it alone. And she had also started a ceramics company where she made, you know, lamps and plates and all kind of stuff out of clay. So she had invested a lot in the two companies, and I think one of them, the screen printing one, kind of subsequently was lost, or basically went down. And she stayed with the ceramics thing for years, and that's how she supported us, so it was a lot for her to deal with as, a single mom, having to deal with two young boys, kind of not having that father figure was frightening for her too, as to, wondering if they would turn out or do things like my pops. So one of those years, I was actually sent to a school called Bel Air, which is a private school in Mandeville.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she had to drive me out there every 2 weeks or every month, basically while my brother was in school still in Kingston. So it was a back and forth thing. She had been trying to become fit and did a marathon and also a fitness marathon. And she wasn't eating very well, drinking a lot of coffee. And she was not taking care of herself in terms of her own personal self. She was taking care of everybody else. So one night I'm watching her. She's, my brother is telling her a story, and I think I was like just lying on the bed or something, and watching her comb her hair, and she kind of stopped and she kind of looked in the mirror and her face went pale. And she saw me see her and she was like, and she went into the other room. And my brother was just talking and playing with his toys and thing. And he was young at the time. And when I went there in her room, she couldn't speak. And she was trying to write something on a paper, and her hand was shaking. And I was like, what is going on? And she wrote heart attack, because that's what she thought she was having. And I was like, whoa. So called my auntie, who's her sister, who was a nurse. And she rushed over, and we took her to the hospital. They did checks on her, EKG, everything. And all of them came back that she's okay. The doctor spoke to her about her life and stress, and she started to find out that it was really a kind of a nervous condition that she had developed. My heart goes out to every single mom, and that's why the Clean Bandits tune is such a dear one to my heart, because I was actually at 17 years old having to be like, all right, I have to take care of mom as well. And there was times where, for months, where she would just be in a place with all normal, and then she would be feeling dizzy, and I'd have to hold her up, and we'd have to have glucosade and these type of things. And she got over that period of time, and she's a very strong woman.
God bless her.
Yeah, so, those things were just a stress on me to think that, boy, Pop's in prison, I'm not sure what's happening with mom. You know what I mean? And what you were talking about earlier was a stress on me in terms of going to college.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends were like, oh, I'm going to this college and that college, and or even UTech. And I just had no, thoughts of it. I didn't have any conversations with my parents or my close relatives who were older about anything like that. And so when I heard at school, people started to talk about that. We're in fifth form now, and people's like, oh, I've enrolled in so and so, and I hope I get through. And this one I go for, tracks, and this one I go because of my academics. And I'm like, damn, never ever thought I. So I didn't go away, and that was a stress on moms too. So it was a back and forth thing where I'm trying to be the good son.
Wow.
And she's trying to be the good mom, but we're kind of getting in each other's way, due to the pressure.
Because at 24 now, when all of your swimming colleagues are getting the scholarships, they're going off to, you're like, we couldn't even discuss that, because the money to go to university, where would that money have ever come from?
I couldn't even pay for 1 year of the school tuition. So it was like, oh boy, where do I stand? You know what I mean?
So is that where the music came in, Sean? Is that where the music came in? Because I read that when you were 17 and mom got sick is when you turned to music. But your career never really took off until you were in your 20s. So
yeah, till about 24 or so. I think a little before that, I was like, I thought I'd be a producer. I saw Steely and Clevie on TV, and they were talking about computers and how it helps with the music now. And I was like, yo, that's all I need. and it took me many years to really understand production, because nobody really, even though my aunt owns a sound system, we didn't really have anything to do with the running of it or how much the idea of how much equipment might cost or anything. So yeah, it was a thing. And by the time you look towards anything else, that's, you know, a lot of things in life hurting you. You look towards music. For me, that was a thing, you know.
Yeah.
Back in the day in Jamaica, for me, it was the biggest pastime. You're all playing football, or you're playing catch or salad or kick or whatever, and somebody shout out, "People, are you ready?" Everybody said,
"Whoa!"
It's just like that's our thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so for me, music was definitely big from way before. But at 15, 17 years old, I started to think I'm gonna become a producer, and then more and more got into the writing, and I felt a great vibe from that.
All right, hold on to that, Sean. I want to talk to you some more about that, because then you started to do the dubs, and then you started to get paid for dubs, and then you started to drop tunes, and the tunes get big here, and then foreign started to pick it up, and you're like, whoa, this could actually be a thing. We'll talk some more to Sean about this journey. I love this tree discussion. It's kind of cool. We'll be right back with more in a little bit. All right, back with you, everybody, on the show. Heading now into the late 90s, when Sean is finding himself. He's in the studios, he's hanging out, Dirty Cup crew forms, and you're starting to do your dubs, Sean, and you're doing them for free, and then people start reaching out to you to pay you for dubs, which is great, right? Then the barbecues start to come, and the gigs start to come, and you start to get some gigs abroad in the clubs. But then in maybe about 2000-ish, you did, I think it was Deport Them that you did, that kind of catapulted you to what was certain stardom at that point. Did you smell it? Did you see it coming?
Yeah, I mean, from the end of 96, when a first song came out, I smelled a little bit of success there. I was like, whoa, this is dope that you know, people are paying attention. And there was an issue of me actually finishing school. So I was in the last year of school. And, you know, about 95, I think that was the last year. And I was like, Mom, this song come out and it'll go on wicked. And I want to kind of promote it, you know, and I wanted to be able to contribute to the home. You know, I was in my 20s now, and boy, I kind of just felt like, you know, somebody who was, you know, almost being looked upon as always worthless. You know what I mean? This dude ain't doing nothing. Now bring nothing to the table. Is that how you felt about yourself, or is that the feeling that you thought others had? It's a feeling that I thought other people had. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't being seen in that light, especially from my own mom. I wanted to contribute, you know? And so I was like, this is an opportunity for me to contribute in a way. Before that, I worked in a bank. I saved up enough money to go to UTech, or CAST at the time. And I paid for my first year, and she had paid for the second 2 years. And this is my last year. And I'm now saying to her, hey, all those past 3 years, I'm supposed to be, you know, graduating in July or whenever, but I kind of want to take this year and see what it can do. And if it fails, I feel like I gave it my best shot, and I'll go back and finish school. You know, the 1 year, it would only be to do the exams and the school-based assessment type stuff. And she agreed. She was like, all right, let's see what you can do. Cool. That's fantastic. Yeah, as an artist, she knows that wanting to follow your dream. Yeah. But she also told me about, you know, in art, people kind of have their own opinions, and it may crush you if you put your all into your whole spirit and soul in it, and somebody just come along and be like, yeah, it can be devastating as well. So, and for me, I was definitely thinking like, I'm gonna fall back on going back to school for sure. But things just took off. It was a whirlwind. You know what I mean?
And when that fame started to hit now, it's funny, I heard you say that you started to discover long-lost relatives, family members were coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, man, and just people who are even my real family, but they would be saying it, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't think that they were, and then years later I find out, oh, we are related to so-and-so grandparents and stuff, and I'm like, oh, but I didn't really know them as a kid or their family as a kid. Also, friends, just whole heap of different friends, and I'm an accommodating person. I like to socialize, so I welcome the new friends for sure. But I also kind of, basically left space for people who didn't have my best interest at heart to kind of be around me a lot. And when I realized that, it's like, oh, okay, it's cool, because they didn't really affect anything about how I wanted to, my dreams or my aspirations or how I wanted to move in life. So it was pretty cool, and I learned a lot about people in that respect.
But you told me, well, you said that there were people who you know for sure legit just never like you, who all of a sudden were like, yo, Sean.
You know about it. And they tell you stories like, remember the time when we, and I'm like, damn, I remember being kind of left out, but yeah, what's up, bro?
Yeah.
But it's human nature. I mean, that comes with the territory as far as I kind of see. Everybody's gonna feel that you're they want a piece of the action, or they want to be known, or someone to see them with you, type of thing. And then it works adversely too when you do become established, very popular, famous. That you don't have time for your own family and your own loved ones. Yes. And then they start feeling like, yo, I hate this dude that you have become. So it's a balance all the time. And life is about balance. It's definitely here for us to experience the good and the bad times. And you have to kind of sift through that and be the balanced person. You know what I mean?
That's what I wanted to ask you, because you've said that the first 5 months of COVID were tough because you couldn't tour anymore. You're usually touring like 6 months out of the year. But you've been home with Jordy, and you've been home with the kids. And I'm sure in the tree, when you want to be in the tree, I'm sure there's something therapeutic in that. Because, Sean, you are such a big star that sometimes don't you just want to just not be that?
Yeah, there are times like I've been sitting in a hotel room strumming on a guitar in England on a free day, because you have interviews all day and shows in the night. Sometimes there's a free day or two, and those days are really lonely. You know what I mean? Cause it's overcast, you're in a place that's cold, it's different, and I I wish I would have seen an evening like this. You know what I mean? With the light that shine through the mango tree. Yeah. You know what I mean? I long to see it. Yeah. And so those times. These times I really appreciate a lot more now. So, I mean, I've always been a person that loves nature and things. I mean, growing up in Jamaica, how could you not? But, it's a thing for kind of realize it, that when you're in someone else's territory or land, and you're like, this has been great to earn some money and see the experiences and meet new people and stuff, but I really miss home. I want to be back there without people going all over me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then, as I said, when you do have those empty days there where you're just in a hotel room, it's a lonely experience at times.
It's funny that, you say you want to be somewhere where everybody not in your ear. I mean, I've seen you riding your bicycle in Manor Park, and I'm like, does Sean Paul realize he's Sean Paul? Because it's like, down the road. But there's a freedom in Jamaica, which I think is interesting, is that we know who you are and we rate you, but we're not going to crowd you. You know what I mean?
You have to kind of know how to move as well, because I've seen artists before that saw me on my bicycle and they was like, yo, bro, you inspire me, bro. Because me can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You have to just know how to move. You have to just know how to move with people. Sometimes I even do it in New York too. I've been in New York, which is a more hectic place in terms of that fan base type orientation thing. And, I'll be riding I have a bicycle up there that I leave at a brethren yard, and every time I come there, he gives me ride all over the city. I found out that I said, how long is it to go in the car to this place now? And I said, hour in a traffic.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going on my bicycle, you know, I won't be there in 20 minutes. Yeah, I would go to the little basketball court them and just sit down and watch game and get into the game.
Yeah.
And one time I was playing a game, and then it was like, the game was over, and everybody was like, all right, cool. And I jumped back on the bicycle and rode off, and there was one dude who's like, yo, you know who that was? He didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing when we were playing, but after I left, so I felt like one of them superheroes there at the time, you know, like
excellent.
The incognito
Invisible.
thing.
Love that.
But
like
it's cool to be able to just be natural like that.
Yeah, like how you feel in the bleachers by the pool at stadium. Well, Virgin, you have a lot of people that love you, and we got a few of them together because they wanted to say something to you this evening. So let's run it, Lord.
You insist me.
I represent the dancehall icon, the man who take dancehall music across the world. Not only that, the man who help a lot of people. The man, a caring brother. You get me? I say, a brother with a different heart. You get me? Me I talk about the boss, the General Sean Paul. We appreciate the work what you do for the whole dancehall community and the whole Jamaica. And I don't if not talk. You get me? I say, because you set a lot of trend. And hold it away and walk the road there right now. You get me? So ching ching, I make you know say, you're icon, you're general, and we appreciate the whole of them thing there.
Big up Sean Paul, my brethren, my partner in crime. Just been such a huge honor working with you for the last 20 years, first as road manager, now as part of management. It's been a wild ride. We've been able to fly the reggae flag high and take dancehall and dancehall culture to over 120 countries. We've had some wild adventures, and Sean has won so many awards, so many accolades, and so much honors, and so much respect is due to him. And Sean, big up for everything that you've done. You deserve everything and all the success and more. I've never met anybody with a work ethic like Sean, and the talent is just undeniable.
One thing about Sean Paul is the same humility you caught him with in the beginning is the same humble guy he is right now. And I think that in itself is incredible because he's a big pop star. He's been waving the reggae dancehall banner for Jamaica for many years at the top of the ladder. And dude's still very humble, and that's just so admirable. I learned humility from Sean Paul.
Yo, me I big up my fam bam, my real fam bam. You see what I say? The accolades, the accomplishments, what you've done for dancehall is astronomical and nothing less. Proud to be a brother. Your accomplishments felt like mine. To know that you're a worldwide renowned star is such a great thing. It has given me hope, given a lot of people hope. And I'm just excited, and you know, being on the Live and Living and Stage 1 and the Trinity, you know, it's a little overwhelming when I think about it. But bro, this is just to say big up to you. You know what I mean? Enough love.
Working with you will forever be one of the great honors of my life. There's a magic to what you do, and it's in your voice, in your presence, and it's because there's nobody like you. And it's why you've been able to have the career that you've had after all these years and still be in such an incredible place. I'm honored to be on your journey, and I can't wait for all that's to come.
It's been a pleasure working with the I brother. It's a pleasure growing up, understanding life, learning life amongst the I, directly and indirectly. Enough things to teach me, enough things to teach you, enough little gems to share, enough little perspectives we share and we tackle at, yeah. And teamwork out for the best, brother. As I say, love and honor and blessings, protection for you, your family, your kids, your brother, your mother, everything. Yeah, my brother, blessings.
First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be one of your dancers all of these years. It has been an amazing journey, but it's your turn to get your roses, your flowers, your diamonds. Thanks again for being loyal, a great leader, and for creating timeless music that will always make us dance and feel good and get the truth out there. And man, I just want to say thank you for making my dreams come true. I grew up watching you on TV, and to be able to share the stage with you has been a dream come true. But not only that part, you have been a great friend, a great person to learn from all of these years. So I just want to say thank you for being you. Thank you for pushing us as a team. And again, thank you for holding us down and being who you are.
Okay, go.
That's why I
No. Go.
That Sarah took
No. What do you think of Daddy's new album, the music?
It's because I love my daddy. He takes me outside every day and we play. Daddy, I love you.
Daddy, I love you.
Mom.
Huh?
Down.
The gummies. Okay, very nice.
Okay.
My kids.
We know you definitely have one budding entertainer. Not sure what he's up to yet, but Levi. But Sean, looking at your team, like as a staff there, I mean, these are people you've been coming from very, 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 very far with. And it shows that you're holding on to that inner circle because obviously you have not changed. You haven't changed.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, as I said, that's what I mean when I say as a 24-year-old becoming famous. I knew who I was. I would never turn my back on friends who helped me up the ladder, you know what I mean? Just even friends who just showed me and say, yo, you see this video? You see this artist? Check out this artist in bad. Those people I revere and you know, so that's not a great intervention in life. But it's friendships are things that they grow. And I think everybody there that you put on the screen, I'm friends with, including my kids.
Yes.
And my wife, I don't know what she do, why she hide out, but I'm pretty sure she hid out.
She's not a pushy person, so we didn't push her. As long as she tells you off camera, which we know she does, because we know you guys have a long love affair.
Yeah,
we can't trick none away. We know there's real love there. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll wrap things up with Sean on today's program. Soon come. Welcome back, everybody. Our final segment, we're wrapping things up with Sean. Sean, before we go, tell us what's next for you. I mean, you've been at the top of your game for so long. Do you know when you think you want to pack it all in? Are you ready to pack it all in? Do you think you have a good 5-10 years left in you? What's next for you?
You know, I believe in the power of music and reggae music especially, and the artists who I've seen, like the great Jimmy Cliff and Tootsie Bird, God rest his soul. They did music until way down, you know what I mean? And for me, as I said before, every time that there's been a problem in life where, there's an obstacle, I bucked my toe, I broke up with a girl, I lean on music. And so for me, it's therapeutic too. Like, it's not only about, I have all these hits and I have to kind of keep that alive. It's about making new hits and also helping, other artists achieve hits. So for me, production is something I'm trying to get into, which we've been doing on a better scale. I've been producing since 2000 on my album. I have one track on that album, a next track on, an album called Imperial Blazer, I think was the fourth album. And then I started producing more and more, 2010, Copper Rhythm, and then 2015 and 2017 to now, I've been producing on a regular basis. So a dream for me is to produce a song for another artist that I don't even have to be in, that will just be a dope song that will translate and become a hit in its own genre in Jamaica here, but also translate and do something abroad as well. I think that there's many artists that can do that. And for me, that's one of my bigger dreams. Other than that, to stay alive, survive this crazy world is something I think all of us should focus on, our health, mental and physical as well. Give thanks for life every day, every step, every breath. That is something that I am very adamant about. Each prayer I start is with the give thanks, because there's so much times that we see clearly that life is very fleeting. And for this gift, we cannot live in the past and we cannot live in the future. We can only remember the past and have dreams for the future, but we're living now in the present. So we must accept this as us, and the words bored and the words, that you're not having a good time makes no sense to me when you think of life in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I want to continue doing music. It makes me happy, and I want to survive.
Giving thanks.
As long as I can, I continue to give thanks, yeah.
Awesome. Boy, this catch-up in the tree was really something special. I've been doing the show for 3 seasons. I've never had a guest in the tree, and something tells me I never will again. But
my little spot, man. And you're invited. You can come to the tree.
No. Everybody who knows me knows I have a lizard thing, and lizard have trees. But I will come close to the tree, but I won't come in the tree. So I might have to take you.
Mango them though.
Yes, I sure will. So put on some of those for me. Thank you, Sean, so much for the time. And all the best with the album. Live and Living is the album, folks. So please pick it up if you can. The tracks are great. Some fantastic work. Producing during COVID is not an easy thing. And Sean has done it. Thank you, Sean. We're going to close things off with our affirmation. So here we go. Let me just turn my body. All right, folks, leaving the way we usually do. So the saying goes, never judge a book by its cover. And the saying should have ended, but by its content. So many of us are guilty at looking at somebody and sizing them up by what we see and what we think we know. But we must understand that every single man or woman you talk to has and has had their very own struggles. In the same way, when we look at ourselves, we should see our strength in overcoming the difficult situations that come our way every day. You don't ever know what somebody has gone through to get to where they are, what they have had to scrape through, what they have had to overcome, what they have had to resolve to still be here and to be live and living. The moral of the story? Be kind to anyone and everyone. And you know what too? Be good to yourself, because that kindness could be the very thing that somebody needs to keep them pushing past their problems. And it could also be what leads you to reach beyond your situation, so you can push to make the rest of your life the best of your life. So tonight we are affirming, I will spare kindness for myself and for others. It costs me nothing, but it's everything in value. And that is our show for this evening. Hope you got some soul food here today. Thank you, Sean, in the tree, for sharing. We're going to be back next week with another story of the power of the human spirit. Until then, everybody, every blessing. And please remember to count your blessings. Good night and take care. Thank you, Sean.